Welcome to this lesson, which is all about overthinking and over worrying things. In today's lesson, I'm going to help you take the steps that will help you move forward beyond the sleepless nights and procrastination that you're suffering with right now. Let's dig in. Before I begin, I'd like to share a little bit about myself. My name is Andrew Ball. I'm the leader of interstellarway.life, which is a place for independent business leaders to cut the chaos, reduce the Rambo, and start taking the steps forward that will help them achieve the lifestyle business that got them started in the first place. Right, without further ado, let's dig into the lesson. So, overthinking and over worrying things. Why is it such a problem? I know it seems obvious, because obviously you're here because you're struggling or challenged by this right now. But let's dig in. The sleepless nights. We've all been there, right? When you're there at 2 o'clock in the morning, an idea or problem is going around your head and you can't seem to get rid of it. Nothing you can do seems to be able to dispel or get rid of this from your head. And before you know it, 2 o'clock becomes 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and all of a sudden the sun's out and you've lost a whole night's sleep. It's terrible. I've been there. One of the effects that this is also going to have on you, of this overthinking and over worrying about things, it's going to cause you to procrastinate. You're not going to make decisions. You're not going to move forward. You're going to feel like you're stuck where you are. Now, I want to share a couple of myths with you about overthinking and over worrying things, which I think might give you, make you feel a little bit better straight away about the problems you're having, and maybe make you think a bit differently about the problems that you're having. Now, first of all, you might believe that if you think for long enough about something, that a perfect plan or the perfect answer will come to your mind. Or maybe you think if you worry for long enough, that you'll worry the problem away, right? You just keep thinking about it and eventually you'll have thought about it so much that the problem will disappear. Well, I can tell you right now there is no such thing as the perfect plan. So let's get rid of that idea straight off the bat and get rid of this notion of if we think for long enough we'll come up with a perfect plan and then we can take action. There is no perfect plan, and I'll tell you why. Whatever decision you make today, no matter how good it is, could be changed by tomorrow. And the best leaders in the world know that to be true. So no matter how good your plan is, it can never be perfect. So why not stop overthinking and stop trying to make a perfect plan and just make a good enough plan? Because a good enough plan is a plan that will be simple and adaptable and will deal with tomorrow's consequences and the things that come along and change everything, which they will. The second one that I want to talk to you about, the second myth I want to talk to you about is to do with the belief that if we keep thinking about something, if we keep processing an idea for long enough, we will come up with a solution, and that it's our conscious mind that will do it for us. Actually, that's a myth. Not all your thinking is done consciously. A huge amount of your thinking is done subconsciously. So actually, if you ease off and give yourself a break, you will let your subconscious move into the vacant areas and start thinking through some of these complex problems by itself. And before you know it, just like a bolt of lightning, ta-da, your subconscious mind will push an answer or solution, and it may not be a big answer or solution, but maybe it's just a workaround or shortcut. It will push it into your conscious mind and you will have a way forward. So actually, stopping thinking is actually a positive, constructive way of actually solving a problem. So it's a complete myth to think you have to keep thinking to solve a problem. That's not always the answer. Sometimes the answer is go for a nice long walk and think about nothing. Think about nature, think about the squirrels, think about the beach and the nice stream, or go and do something where you just empty your mind for a while. And that can actually be 10 times as productive as just getting lost and trying to process and just trying to grind through the problem. Right, let's dig in a little bit further. Let's look at some of the solutions, other solutions to deal with overthinking and over worrying about things. Number one, avoid the situation in the first place. To my cost, right? I've got myself into situations in the past that have caused me to over worry and get stressed and overthink things. Okay, so now I avoid those situations. I tend not to work with certain types of people, for example, because I know if I work with those people, it's going to end up in a stressful situation, or it's likely to. So I just avoid them. So I suggest that you start doing that too. Sorry, bit of a cough break there. So yes, I suggest you're more deliberate about some of the things that you decide to do. So step back and avoid some of those tricky situations you've put yourself in the past that have caused this overthinking and this over worry. Next up, block it out, fill the void. So there are still some nights when I have too much on my mind when I go to sleep, right? And I haven't gone through my wind down routine successfully. And for me, if I have a good wind down, that means not thinking about work after 8 o'clock in the evening. It means not looking at my phone too late in the day, and definitely not being able to see emails or anything like that, because that's all noise, and that's all bad stuff that's gonna go into your mind, and it's gonna, when you go to bed and try and go to bed, it's going to trigger your mind still to be in motion, either consciously or subconsciously. So it is a good idea to have a good wind down routine so you avoid that happening. Now, if I haven't managed to make that work, then what I'll do is I will do something to block out the noise. I'll do something to block out the thoughts. And for me, that's I listen to radio. I listen to talk radio on my headphones, and I know if I do that for about 15-20 minutes, unless the conversation is really engaging, which to be honest it's not always, it will send me to sleep, right? I'm focused on something else, I'm not thinking about it too deeply, and that will help me get to sleep, and I will have a good night's sleep, and it'll at least put the problem to bed for that moment in time. So that's a really good tactic that's worked for me. So I suggest if you can't sleep, you find something to fill the void. Exercise is a great one. Again, if I'm stressed or overthinking or worried about something, then I'll go for a run. Okay, because that will help me feel a lot better about myself, feel a lot better about the moment. And again, my mind is occupied just by the running and just trying to get up a hard hill, and that will leave my subconscious free to work on a problem, or it will just give me a break from the stress and the worry and the thing that I've been overthinking about. And you get that nice hit of endorphins as well from exercise. So that's another great thing to do. Then what else can you do? Well, I think if you're overthinking and over worrying because you've done something which you perceive as a mistake, or you've done something wrong in the past, I think you should accept it and say, yes, I did make a mistake. I did make a mistake, and this wasn't great, and I could have done better here. Or maybe it's not about you. Maybe it's about another thing or another situation. But at some point you need to accept it. If you can't do anything about it, if you can't action that thing from the past, and you can't change the past, it's the past, right? Then you need to accept what's happened. If it was you, then you need to learn to forgive yourself and move on. I know that's a hard thing to do. There's plenty of stuff that, probably if I think about stuff I've done in the past that I've not been too proud of or too happy of, or mistakes that I've made in business and in life that I would do differently if I got a second chance. but it's not actually going to do any good for me or anyone else I know or the people's lives I touch in the future if I just dwell on that forever. So instead, what I accept that I did them, that they happened. I'm not ignoring them or pretending that they didn't happen. I'm accepting that they happened, but I'm forgiving myself for letting them happen. I'm human, right? I'm not perfect. I'm not a robot. So I allow myself to be human and make mistakes, and I forgive myself. And then I focus on the future, right? What can I do better next time? How can I avoid this happening again? And that doesn't mean worrying and thinking about the better way of doing it all the time. It just means at that moment, instead of getting negative about the bad experience, let's say I've had a bad experience with a client, rather than think about, oh, this is awful, woe is me, I'll think, how can I make it a more awesome experience for my client next time? How can we do this better next time so that we don't repeat that mistake? It's also worth considering that some amount of not feeling good about a situation is healthy. Not too much, some of it. You need to feel the pain of mistakes and things going wrong to really learn from them, right? If something doesn't hurt, then you don't change your behavior. If you've never opened your oven once and touched an oven tray at the wrong time with not thick enough oven gloves and slightly burnt yourself, then you probably would never have changed your behavior and used better oven gloves, and you would never have learn to open the oven in a better way, right? And you might have got a bigger burn at some point down the road. So we need a little bit of pain sometimes to help us learn better behavior. But it's about managing it and balancing it and not having too much of that pain in our lives. So the key point here, accept what's happened, forgive yourself for what's happened, but and accept the pain, forgive yourself for the pain of what's happened, but then focus on the future. Focus on the positive steps that will help you stop that happening again. Next on the list, turn negative thoughts into positive goals. So let's say, for example, that you're worried that your clients aren't going to pay you on time, that your invoices are not going to be paid on time, and therefore obviously you'll have a big cash flow problem. Well, if you just sit there or lie there at night worrying about that situation, it's not going to change anything. You need to change that negative thought and worry and thing that you're overthinking about into a positive goal. Set a positive goal of getting your invoices paid by a certain date, and then break that down into sub-actions. So I'm going to email all my clients and find out where they are right now, what's stopping them pay my invoice. What can I do to help you? Can I ring up the people who owe you money and help them and push them to pay you so you can pay me? The point here, even if that's not the right specific action, the point here is just to replace negative, static, unhelpful thoughts with actually positive action. Next on the list, get professional help. I am not a trained clinical psychologist or counsellor, so why I say get professional help, if you are suffering very deeply with this problem of worrying and overthinking things, it might be time to see a counsellor and get some regular sessions to help you move forward. Most countries have professional organisations that can help you with that. If you can't sleep, here's another thing. If you can't sleep, sometimes, even if maybe you've tried my idea of listening to the radio for a while, but you still can't sleep, then what I suggest you do is get out of bed, right? Reset the process. Get a book, not a business book, one that's going to make you think about business or anything like that. Get a book, go and sit downstairs and read for half hour, 45 minutes. See if you can start making yourself sleepy, and then once you're sleepy and you're out of that bad loop of just lying in bed and not being able to go to sleep and then thinking I can't go to sleep and I can't go to sleep, and it's just a negative feedback loop. As soon as you've read your book downstairs or in that other place in your apartment and you feel sleepy, then go back to bed and try going to sleep again. Now, here's another big one. I am saying to you right now that you are allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to change your mind, right? I'm giving you permission to make mistakes in life. As long as they're ones that don't really hurt anyone too badly. But I'm giving you permission to make mistakes with your business, and it's okay. That's how we learn. That's how I got where I am right now, by making tons of mistakes. We all do it. It's all part of the learning process. It's what we do next that matters, and you can't just live in the past with your mistakes. You have to move into the future. Okay, and you're also allowed to change your mind. So if you're overthinking and worrying about things, and you're thinking, oh, I have to choose the exact right option now, you don't. You can choose an option now, or a plan of action, and change it later. I'm giving you permission. Okay, so take action now, worry about it later. Stop overthinking things and stop over worrying about things. And lastly, let your subconscious pick up the strain, right? I've already explained to you how believing that thinking about a problem is always the best way to solve it. It isn't. Free your mind, and don't feel like it's a selfish thing not to be thinking about a problem the whole time. It isn't. It could be the most effective way for you to solve a problem is to stop thinking about it for a while. And that is food for thought. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you'd like to learn more about what I do and my processes, you can go and check out my blog, which is at interstellarway.life. You can also go and get my free business report at interstellar.report. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks for watching.